What's your type of female?
What's my type of female?
Yeah, like what's your type? Like what do you go for? Let's start on appearance.
Okay, so most of my long-term relationships have been with black females, black or mixed females. Like my first girlfriend, like through college for like 4 or 5 years, she was black and Japanese. Long-term relationships have mostly been with black women, but I've also dated a lot of Latin women over the years. A little bit of Asian here and there. I used to really kind of be focused on certain types. I used to like only like deal with thick women or girls with a certain type of body type. But then over the years, I realized that I was missing out on really exceptional people by doing that. By saying I only like this type, it stopped me from pursuing women that were really dope. And then when I kind of just said, okay, let me just get off that high horse, let me just kind of be open, and I started dealing with women who are like different body types and so forth, I really appreciated those, you know what I mean, those attributes for different reasons. So over time, I've had less and less of a type. But the ones I named you have been predominantly through my life.
Out of every ethnicity, what girl you say fucks the best out of any ethnicity?
I don't think, it depends on the girl, you know, because I've had some Brazilians that are just, you know, blow my mind. I've had, you know, I haven't really dealt with a lot of white women over the years. I mean, I've messed around with some here and there, but I think it's really more about the connection and what that person is open to, because you could have a chick that just looks incredible, the baddest body, like perfect skin, beautiful face, and so forth, and in the bedroom is just whack. You've been there.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't like this position, I don't give head, I don't like porn, I don't like weed. Like, there's all these, you know what I mean? Like, you deal with women who just have all these barriers and so forth, and it's just like, yo, why am I even here?
Yeah. Make sure to bring the Ted Bundy out.
All right. You know what was funny? What was funny was Cardi B had an interview on Call Me Daddy. She said that the illest shit. She was talking about how men will value an eater, right? A girl that just gives head. And she said, yo, a dude could have a girl that's missing a leg, and he'll still keep her around if she's an eater.
How do you feel about that? You think that's true?
I think I don't know about the whole missing a leg thing. I've never done that.
DJ Vlad, would you keep a one-legged eater if she's a fire eater?
I think I might, yeah.
How about a one-legged, one-armed eater?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just see how far this goes.
Yeah.
How about a two missing legs eater?
She have one arm?
One arm, but no, and missing one. She's missing one arm and missing both legs.
Yeah, she could. That arm is gonna come in handy.
Okay, what if she's missing all limbs?
All limbs, then I think we're done. I need some hand action. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to have at least one hand to be able to do some work.
Let's ask this question when the cameras are off again. So you said about Cardi B, she said something on that interview. Is that the same interview where she stated that she used to drug men and rob them?
No, that was something she said way in the past.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's lame.
Like,
lame as hell.
If you was to do it, where'd you be? Where would you be?
If I were to do what?
Drug and rob women.
Wait, if I was drugged by a woman?
No,
or
if you drugged and robbed a woman.
I wouldn't drug and rob a woman.
No, but I'm saying, where you think you would be as a man? I'm trying to get to like a double
where
standard.
I would be? I would probably be in prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think a man on television can't smack a news reporter's ass and be considered playful instead of it being like sexual harassment?
Well, I think anyone smacking anyone's ass would be sexual harassment, even if a woman smacked a dude's ass.
If a woman smacked a man on the ass on like Sports Center and said good game, you know what I mean?
It'd be sexual harassment.
Yes, it would. Would it be taken as serious?
No, it wouldn't be taken as serious, but it'd still be sexual harassment.
Because of HR?
Yeah. And because it's just inappropriate behavior. Like if one of my female employees smacked me in the ass, I'd potentially fire her. And if I smacked them in the ass, I would expect a lawsuit. That's just how it goes. You know, you should keep your hands to yourself, especially in a work environment. As someone who has like a dozen employees, like you got to be careful about that, and you have to treat people professionally and respectfully. You can't.
Do you feel like that's now or it's always been?
It's always been. It's always been. And you know, for example, like I know someone who worked for Diddy at one point, right? And they saw this exact same situation. They were telling me how they were all in the office, and there was like it wasn't Bad Boy, it was like one of his other affiliated companies that he worked at. I don't want to say specifically which one, but there was a female employee there. She was like a manager. She was married. Her husband would come, you know, to the office sometimes. Diddy knew her and the husband, obviously. And at one point, like, Diddy walked by and just smacked her in the ass in front of everybody. And everyone was just like really uncomfortable after that. And so when I heard about, you know, Diddy going through what he went through, it was like, it was situations like that, you know. Or I remember there's another employee that worked for me that was, I think it was like the last train to Paris rollout, and they were all in a trailer together, and one of Diddy's assistants couldn't get his internet working, so he like picked up the laptop and threw it at her head as hard as he could, and he like barely missed her head and smashed against the wall, and she was outside crying and so forth. So you can't be running a business like a real business doing this type of bullshit.
How do you feel about artistry? Like if a Justin Bieber would get on a stage or Chris Brown and women are fucking fantasizing over them, screaming, yelling. He gets on top of like the metal, like the what divides the crowd and the thing. Mm-hmm. You know, the metal bars.
Yeah, right.
He gets out there, he starts singing, they start rubbing on his chest and like, oh my God, Chris Brown, I love you on a fan mode, right?
Right.
If Taylor Swift got on the metal bars and the guy's touching her chest, how do you feel about that?
I mean, shit like that happens. I mean, Billie Eilish, she was going, I think, like through a crowd at a show, and some dude just snatched her up. This just happened. I mean, look, if you want to expose yourself to the public, you know, I mean, like rock stars would get their clothes torn off, you know, back in the day and so forth. That type of shit happens. So if you want to physically expose yourself to a crowd, and if you're a female, someone grabs your titty, that person will get kicked out. You could potentially press charges against them, even though that probably wouldn't happen, but it's inappropriate. But at the end of the day, like when you go, I mean, but some of these male performers, they actually like that. That's part of their show.
Do you feel like the male performers are treated differently than women performers?
Well, I think the male performers put themselves in those types of situations because that becomes part of their show.
If you were a rock star, right, and a fan said, oh my God, rock star Vlad, spit in my mouth, would you do it? You're a rock star, Nirvana days, like.
Male or female?
No, a female. I mean, with a chain.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Would you intentionally miss?
I have spit in women's mouths before when they've asked me to do it.
Would you intentionally miss and hit her in the eye?
No.
All right.
Aim for the mouth.